If you could give a child in your life one gift for the future, what would it be? Most gifts are temporary. Toys can break, games become boring, and clothes will be outgrown. What if you had the opportunity to give a gift that lasts much longer? One they'll never outgrow. You do. You can do something for the child you love that she cannot do for herself. Give her a head start towards her future financial security. Your gift will open doors of opportunity by helping to pay for college, milestone celebrations, a first home, and more. What's more, this gift will never wear out, is guaranteed to increase in cash value, won't become obsolete, and won't lose value in any economy. Whether it's for a child, grandchild, niece, nephew, or godchild, the gift of whole life insurance can offer financial security, protection, peace of mind, and more. And by purchasing life insurance for the child you love now, you will be able to give them more coverage for less money. Protection, possibility, potential, permanence. What other gift offers so much?
Hello and welcome and vanakkam. This is your host Venki with another episode of Southern Spice America AlapparaigaL. And Alapparai அப்படின்னா என்ன அப்படின்னு நிறைய பேர் என்ன கேட்டிருக்கீங்க. And the surprising part about that is சென்னையில இருந்தே நிறைய பேருக்கு அலப்பறைனா என்னன்னு தெரியல. ஸோ எனக்கு இந்த வார்த்தை வந்து வைகை புயல் வடிவேலுக்கிட்டேருந்து கத்துக்கிட்ட ஒரு வார்த்தை அலப்பறை. ஏன்னா அலப்பறையா பேசுறீங்களே அப்படின்ட்டு. ஸோ இட்ஸ் பேசிக்லி ஜஸ்ட் இங்கிலீஷ்ல பேண்டர் அப்படின்னு சொல்றது தான் ஐ திங்க் இஸ் அலப்பறை. ஸோ வி நேம் திஸ் ஷோ அமெரிக்கா அலப்பறைகள் எக்ஸாக்ட்லி அ இயர் பேக் when the pandemic lockdown started, March 2020, when I brought my show out of radio broadcast in New York, New Jersey, and I brought it into social media with Facebook and YouTube. அப்போ வந்து சதர்ன் ஸ்பைஸ்ன்ற பேரோட சேர்ந்து வந்து ஒரு ஷோக்கு எபிசோடுக்கு ஒரு டைட்டில் கொடுக்கலாம்னு சொல்லிட்டு அமெரிக்கா அலப்பறைகள்னு ஆரம்பித்தோம். The first show that I started was with director Arun Vaidyanathan, actor Prasanna, and flute Naveen. And அதுக்கப்புறத்துலேருந்து we've continuously been having a show every Saturday. I've done shows with Veena Maestro, Rajesh Vaidya. We've had violin Karthik, we had violin Padma, we've had Lydian Nadaswaram, we've featured Anil Srinivasan, Sikkil Gurucharan. இது மாதிரி எவ்வளோ ஆர்டிஸ்ட் பாம்பேலேருந்து விஜயா சங்கர். So a lot of musicians, singers, artists, and we also did director S.P. Muthuraman sir. We had various other people over the last 1 year. And இதுல ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டி என்ன அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னாக்க, we've been featuring some people who are non-celebrities as well, but who are doing so much work in their particular field that in actual terms they are celebrities in what they do. But because they're not in media, because they're not in movie field or music field, they're not as popular as the film-based celebrities. So அந்த வரிசையில இன்னைக்கு ஒரு செலிபிரிட்டி நான் கொண்டு வர போறேன் ஷோல. And why are we doing this? We've been supporting a lot of families in Chennai during the pandemic and lockdown who've been not having any income. வருவாய் இல்லாம தவிக்கிற குடும்பங்களுக்கு ஃபண்ட் ரைஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். And we've been doing it through Punarjanmam. You're seeing that on the ticker that's scrolling in the bottom. Punarjanmam.org is the website if you'd like to go and see what kind of work we are doing through that charity and how many people we have helped and so on and so forth. So we continue to do that. இன்னைக்கும் நிகழ்ச்சியை பார்க்குறவங்க தயவு செய்து புனர்ஜன்மம் வெப்சைட்டை விசிட் பண்ணுங்க, punarjanmam.org. and உங்களால் ஆனது whatever you can help, please do, and it will go to some needy people. We've funded the education of various poor children, girls and boys in Chennai. Right now we have more than 37 kids that we are educating. அதை தவிர மியூசிஷியன் ஃபேமிலிஸ்க்கெல்லாம் வந்து பேண்டமிக் லாக்டவுன் போது we provided some money for groceries and medicines to just keep things going. So அது மாதிரி நிறைய வேலைகள் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. So let's switch to what we are going to do today. இன்னைக்கு யாரை ஃபீச்சர் பண்ண போறோம் ஷோல அப்படின்னு நீங்க நிறைய பேர் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க. Who we have is this person. So she's literally a powerhouse with 27 plus years of experience in coaching, right? Corporate training, and she does most of her work is in learning and development. So more than 60 multinational corporations she has done training, and she's empowered so many people, both youngsters as well as corporate executives, with very very interesting kind of coaching and training, leadership coaching, cognitive behavioral therapy, emotional intelligence, professional etiquette, business communication skills. இது மாதிரி ஏகப்பட்ட விஷயங்கள் அவங்க கோச் பண்ணிட்டு வராங்க. அதில் ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டி அப்படின்னு நான் சொல்லும்போது அது என்ன ஸ்பெஷல் அப்படின்னு கேட்டிங்கனாக்க, கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு வருஷத்துல ஒரு 10,000 பேரையாவது இவங்க டச் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க கோச்சிங் மூலமா, ட்ரைனிங் மூலமா. ஸோ 25 வருஷமா பண்றாங்கனாக்க நீங்க பார்த்துக்கலாம், ஒரு 2.5 lakh people have actually been trained by her. And இன்னைக்கு I'm so happy that International Women's Day is on Monday, March 8th. And today we are featuring a woman who's by all means an achiever. She started this on her own. She built it on her own. She's running it on her own. And she's touched more than 250,000 people with her training and coaching. அதில் நிறைய பேர் அவங்களுக்கு பர்சனலாக தேங்க்யூலாம் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. So she is a super achiever. She is a celebrity. And இன்னைக்கு அவங்கள தான் நம்ம ஷோவில் கொண்டு வர போகிறோம். அவங்க பேர் என்னன்னா துர்கா. So let's put our hands together and welcome the star of the show today, Dhurga.
Thank you, Venki. Vanakkam Southern Spice viewers. Great to be here.
Good to have you, Dhurga. It's such a pleasure to have you. நான் எவ்வளோ பேர் கார்பரேட்ல எல்லாம் சந்திச்சிருக்கேன், but you have been a one-woman army all the past 25-27 years of doing your whatever you're doing, corporate training, life coaching. So it's fascinating. The least to say, it's fascinating how you built it. But what we all want to know, and I'm sure all the people who are watching the show would want to know, is how did you do it? Why did you start coaching as your profession, and how did you get into it?
One, I would say coaching as profession or a passion becomes profession. So this was a passion turned profession. And passion all began with self. I think anything starts at home, and charity begins at home. So it all started with self. So when I got married to an army officer, there's a lot of things you go through, a lot of emotions. When you're in a new setup, you're not familiar with it. And Arthur the concept of trying to prove yourself in a new place, that was a challenge. And one immediate duty which you get as an army wife is you have to empower the families of the Javans. So only training, life skills, and we have to train them straight from their vocational skills to how to use accounts. So I'm training the Javans families, and the other side, as a new entrant to the army family, coming from a civilian background, I have to upscale myself, my own skills, the sense of etiquette, and kind of protocol that's maintained in the army. So I think these two challenges together made me who I am today. I totally over to that.
Nice. So it was basically a challenge for you to, going from a protected environment, being with your parents. திடீர்னு ஒரு நாள் கல்யாணம் பண்ணி ஆர்மி ஆஃபீஸரோட அனுப்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. You went away to a different location, and you had to adjust, and you had to, rise up to the occasion and, stand on the plate and deliver.
Definitely. And first or North India போகும்போது first question மദ്രാസിயான்னு கேட்பாங்க. Second question ஸ்வெட்டர்னா என்ன தெரியுமான்னு கேட்பாங்க. Because அவங்களுக்கு தெரியும் definitely we don't possess a sweater. So they'll be like, आपके पास है क्या? That's how they very gently put it across.
Okay.
You have to, really go about a lot of way, from the way you carry yourself, the way you dress, the way you speak. You're always under the camera's eye.
Mm-hmm.
You need to prove yourself. I am one of you, and because you want to be inclusive. You want to be included, right? that's what we all look for when we enter a new setup. And I look for that. And that's when I felt I need to share this with the world, because not everybody knows these soft skills and what they expect us. And that's how the whole thing started.
Great thinking. So see, it's one thing to be in the situation that you're in and do something that you're expected to do over there, but it's another thing to institutionalize that, take that learning, and then go and deliver it to the larger world outside, where civilians who don't have experience with army life or defense life, but they do require some of that discipline, some of the skills. அதெல்லாம் வந்து கொண்டு போகணும், அதை கொண்டு போய் கொடுக்கணும்ன்ற ஒரு எண்ணம் எப்படி வந்தது, and how did you deliver on that?
So started with the one empowering the women in the families associated with the Jawans, and also ex-servicemen. So when they retire, they need to find placements in the civil, and they're not equipped for that, because in the army everything is like follow the instructions, right? You go by the manual, protocols are set, it's all very self-disciplined, each one knows their role. You do not know how to settle down in a civilian setup or a company or a corporate setup. So needed that gap needed some bridging, and that's where I came in. And bridging that gap with ex-servicemen to settle with MNCs is where I fitted in, and took it further to colleges, schools, and corporates. So I think once again, I think the base was all from the army.
Nice. So okay, so we cut to the part where you came back from there and started doing this training. How did you approach your your target audience? Where did you start first, and how did it grow from there?
I'm not much of a person to go around advertising, so trust me, it was totally word of mouth. Till date, I get calls. It just happens. Somebody would have referred somebody, or somebody come back to me after 10 years, and have people calling me up for to guide their children. I mean, there's somebody I must have trained long ago, and then they come back saying, my child is in so and so class, so can you guide her? So it just happens, Venki. It's never been a case where I went around marketing. I know there's a lot of digital marketing happening nowadays. I'm yet to tap all that. Yeah. So it's just purely been goodwill and word of mouth.
But அதுவே வந்து பிஸியா வச்சிருக்கு இல்லையா? It's keeping you totally
extremely busy. I didn't understand COVID was happening around me, because I was training back to back virtual sessions throughout the day. I have no time, so I don't know how 2020 passed. It just passed by, and yes, I stayed with a smile, one, because of the people I train, I meet each day, and also it keeps me smiling because I'm making a difference to people. So that's what matters.
So lot of people can't hold a conversation even with like 4 to 6 people in the room. You stand in front of hundreds of people in each of your training sessions, and you talk. Every training, does it have a specific topic that you discuss, or is it how do you structure your courses?
It starts off with I just see them as where I stand. I just see that what were my needs when I needed help, or I needed guidance. I had women in the army who mentored me. My husband's seniors whose wives would step in, and maybe somebody taught me baking. So I knew people were always there in that family to help each other. So it's very simple logic. You just show that you care, and the other person wants to reciprocate that affection and care.
Sure.
So when I relate with people, it is just to let them know I care for them, and that sparks the relationship.
Amazing. So let me bring it to இன்னைக்கு நம்ம என்ன பேச போறோம் அப்படின்றதுனா anger management தான் வந்து டாபிக்கா. Among all the things that you coach, I would think this is a very, very important topic, because so many people, including yours faithfully, has lost a job because of anger. And getting angry at the workplace, yelling at your boss, or reacting to something in a meeting sharply, these are traits which are sure shot going to get you fired, right? So how did you pick that as an area that you should be addressing for corporates? Did they ask you the மாதிரி anger management பத்தி பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொன்னாங்களா இல்ல you yourself because
ரொம்ப முக்கியமான விஷயம் இது. என் வீட்லயே I had a husband who would probably get triggered. A word was enough to trigger that, that anger. So he's otherwise a great officer, handling a battalion, commanding a regiment. So I would always wonder what goes wrong. At the end of Vartha na sonna, he gets angry, So a lot of introspection poite irko. And I know he comes in with a smile, and I open the door and ask something, and something goes wrong, and then there's like things flying around the house. So either first 10 years of a marriage is like this, imagine. Yeah, so I would wonder what is going wrong. Like, I mean, because he has friends and he's an officer, and everything's fine. So I cannot blame him. I cannot say something wrong with him. And so it must be me then, right? So that's when I started introspecting. I said, what is the reason? I mean, what's going wrong? So then I realized a simple word like "why late" was enough to make him, because he felt he's had a hard, long day of work and very responsible, and a lot of things which they do not have to discuss at home. And I should probably have just let him in and said, probably let me get you something to refresh. Instead of that, the first two words would be "why late," and that would be the trigger, and that's it. So I learned it late, but so that's when I realized this is something which every family, every woman, every husband should know. Everybody should know. It took me 10 long years to undo that damage.
Okay.
So I felt all should know this, Venki, and I'm so glad you made it happen. This is something which is most important for people to understand. What is this anger all about? It's not something wrong in the other person or wrong in us. It is just something which happens within the body. If we understand that, it is so easy to maintain peace in that family, and which I am having now. I am having a thoroughly great marriage right now because it's at peace.
This is something that everybody should know. Absolutely. மக்களுக்கு வந்து ஆவுனா கோவப்படுறாங்க. இப்போ இருக்கிற காலகட்டத்துல நான் என்ன பார்க்கறேன்னாக்க, I'm seeing people are super sensitive. The smallest thing ticks them off. I don't know whether it's the stress and the tension of, the daily grind of the life that people are going through, but I'm seeing more people getting snappy and angry easily rather than more people actually, enjoying, laughing, having fun. ஆனா ஆவுனா சின்ன சின்ன விஷயத்துக்கெல்லாம் கோவப்பட்டு ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஷிப்ஸே முறிஞ்சு போகுது. நல்ல ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸா இருந்தவங்க எல்லாம் வந்து திடீர்னு ஒரு வார்த்தை சொல்லிட்டான்றதுனால ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஷிப்பே முடிச்சுட்டு பேசாம இருக்காங்க, முறுகிட்டு இருக்காங்க. இது மாதிரி நடக்குது இப்போ. இயல்பான வாழ்க்கையில இதுதான் நடக்குது. So why don't you explain that process? How does it trigger? What does it trigger?
So I would call this as what we are going to discuss now is the amygdala hijack. So the amygdala hijack is something which if we understand, it's so easy. Like, so let me make you understand this. So when you say anger, actually they are going through something called an amygdala hijack. So what is amygdala? So in our brain, there are 3 parts. Do you want to just show them the slide?
I'm just going to pull it up. Keep talking. I'll pull up the slide.
We have the brain has 3 parts to it. So there's the neocortex. We have the frontal brain. Then we have the middle brain, which is your limbic system, and then we have the reptile brain, which is your survival system. So the 3 parts to the brain, and there is one little tiny part which is almond shaped. It's called the amygdala. So in the almond shaped amygdala வந்து ஒரு paired organ, அது ஒரு பேரா இருக்கும், and 2 இருக்கு. நம்ம left hemisphereலயும் இருக்கு, right hemisphereலயும் இருக்கு. So இது வந்து நம்ம we consider this as part of the limbic system, அதாவது the middle brain ஓட limbic system. We consider this small, as you can see in that image, that one small thing which is highlighted. That's your amygdala.
Okay.
So in the amygdala, it's there in both the spheres of the brain. It basically it consists of a cluster of neurons. So what happens when the messages or sensory inputs, which comes either through sight or through your auditory or olfactory or your touch, when these messages come in, the thalamus normally transports these messages to the neocortex. So neocortex is the thinking brain. the logical thinking, reasoning பண்ணணும், யோசிக்கும், எல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு then it will finally tell whether to respond, எந்த மாதிரி ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் கொடுக்கணும். இதுதான் யூஸ்வலா நடக்கும். நம்ம ஒருத்தர் கூட ஒரு கான்வர்சேஷன் பேசும்போது இதுதான் நம்ம நார்மலா நடக்கிற ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷன். ஆனா சில நேரத்துக்கு நம்மளுக்கு கோவம் வருது. அந்த சில நேரத்துக்கு கோவம் வரதுக்கு என்ன காரணம்? அதுதான் இந்த அமிக்டலா ஹைஜாக். ஸோ என்ன ஆகும், இந்த மெசேஜ் டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணும்போது சம்டைம்ஸ் அந்த மெசேஜ் நியோகார்டெக்ஸ் ரீச் ஆகிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி இந்த அமிக்டலா வந்து ஆஸ் யூஷுவல் எப்போதுமே ஸ்கேன் பண்ணும். நம்ம ஒருத்தர் மீட் பண்ணும்போது எப்படி ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்லி ஸ்கேன் தம் ரைட் ஹெட் டு டோ. ஒரு ஸ்கேன் பண்ணுவோம், ஒரு நார்மலா ஒரு ஜட்ஜ் பண்ண ஆரம்பிப்போம் அவங்கள. ஓகே, ஒரு ரேட்டிங் கூட கொடுத்துருவோம், ஒரு மென்டலா ஒரு ரேட்டிங் இவங்களுக்கு. It's a natural human tendency which we do, right? So the same thing, when any information, sensory input comes into the thalamus, the amygdala will start scanning it. Scanning for what? It already has vivid past experiences. So the limbic system is a memory powerhouse. So it already has past experiences which we call as the emotional baggage. நம்ம சின்னப்போ பேரண்ட்ஸ் சண்டை போடுறது பார்த்துருப்போம், இல்லை டீச்சர் அடிக்கிறது பார்த்துருப்போம், இல்லை in the office setup we could have seen a showdown between a boss and a colleague. So something we have all this input there in our brain, right? Stored vivid experiences.
Right.
So amygdala is constantly scanning the present input to see whether match ஆகுதா, நம்மளோட past experience ஓட ஏதாவது கொஞ்சமாவது மேட்ச் ஆகுதா. ரஃப் ஏதாவது மேட்ச் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, லைக் ஹவு தட் ஃபிங்கர் பிரிண்ட் மேட்சிங் அட் போலீஸ் ஸ்டேஷன். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ரஃப் ஏதாவது ஸ்லைட்டா மேட்ச் ஆனா கூட within an instant it starts reacting.
Wow.
Split second instant it starts reacting. So appo it tells the brain there is some kind of danger for me, and it starts giving the signal to produce adrenaline and cortisol. இந்த ரெண்டு ஹார்மோன்ஸ் ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்றதுக்கு சிக்னல் கொடுத்துரும். எதனால? அந்த ரஃபா ஏதோ ஸ்கேனிங் பண்ணும்போது மேட்ச் ஆயிருக்கு, சம் பாஸ்ட் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ், ஏதோ ஒரு சண்டையோ ஒரு த்ரெட்டோ ஏதோ ஒரு அந்த எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் மேட்ச். ஓ, இந்த பர்சன் அதுதான் நம்மளுக்கு பண்ண போறாங்க. ஸோ 4 கொஸ்டின் வரும் இந்த நேரத்துல. Is this person hurting my ego? Is this person going to hurt me physically? Is this something which I hate? Is this something which I fear? இந்த அமிக்டலா இந்த 4 கொஸ்டின் கேட்கும். 4 கொஸ்டின் தான் ஒன்று பாசிட்டிவா கிளிக் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா அந்த ஸ்கேன்ல அடுத்த நிமிஷம் the signal goes produce the fight or flight mode. So what is this fight or flight mode? You remember the primitive men, right?
Yeah.
So அவங்க survival எப்படி? They'll go hunting. Animals they'll get killed or attacked or they'll get injured. Right. So they have to be constantly alert. ஏதோ ஒரு அனிமல் எங்கன்னா வந்துருமா, லயன் வருமா, அதை டைகர் அட்டாக் பண்ணுமா, they have to be constantly alert. So அப்போ அந்த பிரெயின் வந்து ஒரு சர்வைவல் சிஸ்டம் கிரியேட் பண்ணிச்சு, which is either flight or fight into flight or freeze mode. If it is a snake or a bear, you have to just freeze and stay where you are, and it will just crawl over you and leave. So in the moon way, or you will have, if well equipped, you'll fight it. இதெல்லாம் ஒர்க் அவுட் ஆகாது, பெஸ்ட் இஸ் டு ரன்னா you will run. So fight, flight or freeze mode. So the survival mechanism was created because of that. ஆனா இப்போ in the modern age life, we are not hunting tigers or lions. We're not in danger of that, but we are in danger of emails and phone calls and messages, right? So these have become your danger signals. So when you feel this is something which is hurting me in some way, something which I fear or threatening me, the amygdala reacts instantly. So and when it produces cortisol and adrenaline, the next thing it does is it hijacks the complete neocortex, which means your thinking brain is not functional right now. And the cortisol which is produced in the process is hijacking your digestive system.
Okay.
So அதனால தான் நம்மளுக்கு அந்த நேரத்துல ஒரு nauseatic feeling இருக்கும். You feel like throwing up, you feel nauseous, you feel angry, and a lot of changes are happening in your body. Can you share, Venki, if you're angry, what are the visible signs you see in your body? Will you be able to share that?
Yeah. When I get angry, I kind of break into a sweat. My hands start trembling, and I kind of shut down. I start talking a lot, but it's all, I may talk more than I should be talking.
Yeah, there are some people where the eyes turn red and right, or blood is gushing faster and you're pumping in more air. And you find that your temperature, body temperature has increased, your blood pressure has increased. So you find a lot of these visible signs happening in your body. So these signs indicate that you're going through an amygdala hijack. So remember, when you experience these signs, one, you're going through an amygdala hijack. And so which means during that time, what are the things happening? Your neocortex, that is your thinking brain, is completely hijacked and inactive. Right? Second thing, your digestive system is again hijacked and inactive. Third, you're going to say a lot of things in rage, which is going to be absolutely meaningless and rash and can end up breaking a relationship, right?
And which you will regret later.
Definitely, yes, absolutely. So we have seen that a lot of times, and not only break relationships which you regret later, what happens is people have even cancelled their vacations and the கோவத்துல இருக்கிற tickets cancel பண்ணிடுவாங்க, cards block பண்ணிடுவாங்க, ஃபேமிலியோட sharing debit card block பண்ணிடுவாங்க. So at that instant you tend to do things very rashly. You do not think twice, இது நம்ம பண்றது சரியா சரியில்லை. Best think பண்ண முடியாது because it is hijacked, right? Neocortex is hijacked. So think பண்ணவும் முடியாது. So you only do things out of rash, which is absolutely baseless. அதுக்கப்புறம் இது கூல் ஆகும் எப்போ? How much time do you think it takes to vanish this entire rage in the brain?
எனக்கு ஒரு 30 minutes ஆகும்.
Minimum 20 minutes. Actually, it take to 12 to 13 hours.
Oh wow.
Normal human being, it takes 12 to 13 hours. So under 12 to 13 hours, best is to not interact with anybody.
Time out எடுத்து ரூம்ல உட்கார்ந்துடணும் ஒரு மூலையில.
மூலையில உட்கார்ந்தா இருந்தா, then best thing to do is breathing and meditation. So sit in a place and meditate, shut eyes, shut yourself, from everything around you and meditate. And the active, energetic person, the best thing is to just be on the move. Go for a jog or a walk or a cycling. Just be on the move. So basically, our body is meant for to be on the move. So the move la irukumbodhu enna agum, the breathing regulate aidum. So the whole thing, let me explain to you like this. So imagine if this is your brain. All right. So I'm taking these 4 fingers as the neocortex, and this is the amygdala. So when I make a fist like this is your complete brain now. So when I have an amygdala hijack, the neocortex flips. Okay, it has lost control. The amygdala has taken control.
Okay.
So amygdala is in complete control now. So imagine that. So neocortex is completely out. So when I do complete movement, walking, or I'm moving around and I'm running, slowly this comes back to position. Minimum 20 minutes, but definitely it can last for 12 to 13 hours. So it comes into position and then it takes control, and now you can think, you can rewire the whole process, whatever the event took place, you can rewire it. Then you can think, okay, how do I rephrase it? இது எப்படி யோசிச்சிருக்கலாம், என்ன பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ்ல பார்த்தா I can find a better solution. அப்போ யோசிச்சு we are able to come up with a win-win solution. So அது நடக்கணும். And
but if let's say I'm in a situation, ஒரு ரூம்ல ஒரு 5 பேர் இருக்கோம், 6 பேர் இருக்கோம், ஏதோ ஒரு கான்வர்சேஷன்ல ஒருத்தருக்கு திடீர்னு ஸ்னாப் ஆயிடுறாரு, கோவம் வந்துருது, அண்ட் அவர் மத்தவங்களை பேச விடாம கத்திட்டே இருக்காரு. அப்போ மத்தவங்க என்ன செய்யலாம் அவரை கண்ட்ரோல் பண்றதுக்கு, அவரோட கோவத்தை கண்ட்ரோல் பண்றதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணலாம்?
ஒண்ணு, அந்த பழைய காலத்து டெக்னிக், பார்ட்டி டெக்னிக், தண்ணி குடிப்போம். டக்குன்னு அவரை தண்ணி குடிக்க வைக்கணும். எதனால தண்ணி குடிக்கிறோம்? சிம்பிள் ஐடியாலஜி பிஹைண்ட் திஸ். Cortisol dissolves in 9 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah. So cortisol can dissolve within 9 seconds. So it's very important to drink water. So and the cortisol which causes the rage can actually dissolve in water. So நம்ம தண்ணி குடிச்சாலே கோபம் தள்ளியும். அது ஃபர்ஸ்ட். சரி, தண்ணி குடிக்க எப்படி தண்ணி குடிக்க வைக்கிறது?
எனக்கு வேணாம் அப்படின்றாரு கோவத்துல.
Good to take the person, keep them moving, take them away from that side. Ask them to keep moving. I said, okay, let's just step out for have some fresh air. Some சொல்லிட்டு let's step out for some fresh air சொல்லிட்டு அப்படியே just keep moving. Move out of that place. So அந்த மூமெண்ட் வரும்போது என்ன ஆகும், அந்த breathing கொஞ்சம் ரெகுலர் ஆகும். We told, right, and adrenaline produce ஆகுது. எதனால? அந்த fight flight mode-நால it actually makes you take in more oxygen. அதனால we sort of do a lot of gasping when we shout at people, we yell at people, right? there's a lot of intake of oxygen. Because there's more intake of oxygen, the pumping gets faster. Because the pumping gets faster, circulation is faster. Because circulation is faster, the temperature builds up. So it's all a continuous chain, and because of this, you find the blood is flushing on your face. And somebody has to maintain the temperature, right? The temperature is increasing. Adrenal sweating takes place. So it's all interrelated. And the adrenaline, which is preparing your body to run faster. So on the moment the adrenaline is getting used, right? The shouting will reduce. They're using it elsewhere. They're using it in that flight.
On the contrary, Dhurga, கோவம் வரும்போது தண்ணி கொடுத்தா குடிக்க மாட்டேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு பக்கத்துல இருக்கிற சரக்கு கிளாஸ் எடுத்து சரக்குல 2 சிப் எடுத்தாங்கன்னா இன்னும் கோவம் ஜாஸ்தி ஆயிரும்ல.
Okay, I'm not sure if it dissolves in hard drinks. Provided there's sufficient water in that hard drink, maybe it should dissolve. Yeah, we should experiment on that and see if cortisol dissolves.
I've experienced it with in a situation. So yeah, alcohol is the worst antidote. You can never have that.
Yeah, I don't think that's yeah, true. So one would be water, and if you feel you can move the person away from that place, move it. More, I would say, is if each one of us can be conscious and the signs okay, I'm getting angry, I can feel it, like, I can feel that my voice is increasing, my pitch is getting higher, I'm beginning to sound harsh. What I tell my family, since everybody now knows in my family what an amygdala hijack is, I tell them, listen, I'm getting an amygdala hijack, just leave me alone.
Right.
One other technique use panna, so they leave the room and I stay in the room. Or I will say, I'm just stepping out for a walk. We'll discuss this later in the evening. So I start. Now, since that is possible, because everybody in the family knows what this amygdala hijack is. So in hijack happens, they understand and everybody. So it's good to first inform the entire family about it.
அதுக்கு ஒரு சிம்பிள் டேர்மா கொடுக்கலாம்ல, அமிக்டலா ஹைஜாக் அப்படின்னாக்க பெரிய.
Actually, it's very interesting. So I must tell you this. So once when I taught this to one of my batches, so the next morning I received a very tight hug from a student. So she said, "Ma'am, I'm so happy today." So the excitement, so happy today. I said, "What happened?" She said, "Amygdala hijack சொன்னதுல போய் காத்தால் husband as usual அவர் எரிச்சல்ல கோவத்துல திட்டிட்டு இருந்தாரு. நேற்று சொல்லியிருந்தேன் உங்களுக்கு amygdala hijack பத்தி, you're having an amygdala hijack right now நான் சொன்ன அடுத்த நிமிஷம் அவர் சிரிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சாரு. ஆமா true, correct, இது amygdala hijack சொல்லிட்டு then immediately he drank water and cooled down. He took that effort to change it and said, okay, let's discuss this. So actually I think that word makes people smile also, because she's never seen him smile.
Oh.
That was his first time she's seen him smile. So I guess it's good to keep it as an amygdala hijack. Maybe we should have a pseudonym for it.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. See, a lot of people didn't know about this, and it's a very important concept. And once we know that this is what is happening to us, we start recognizing it, then we'll be able to control it. Take a sip of water, move away from the room, pace around a little bit, and then come back into the room. Things will be normal, and you won't break relationships, and you won't cause damage.
Yeah, it's about relationships, and also children don't have to see this happening at home, because always they grow up seeing parents having fights. That we can not let them go through that trauma, so that we can put a halt to that. That's very important. I think first thing they should know is the parents love each other, and the first message they deserve to get from each other. Most important. When we do this at work or at home, we're able to build better relationships. And you're in control of your own emotions, right? You're not subsiding the emotion, you're not hiding the emotion. It's just a question of being in control. So I decide what is my response. Instead of reacting, I'm going to respond to it. So it's a good way to respond.
Beautiful. Dhurga, this is such a beautiful concept that you've explained to all our viewers today. I know you mentioned one real life experience with a student. She experienced it at home, and she came back and told you it really worked. Experiences, real experiences that you can tell us?
Definitely. I know a couple where in that spurt of the moment, the husband just cut the cards. obviously they have these joint accounts and all the cards were cut. So the activate pandrathuku, right, the amount of time it took to apply for a new one and then get the card, and we're not able to access their money till then. So they went through a lot of turmoil, and that's when they had come to me. And so definitely it made a huge difference to them. And another person where he was getting fits, he was having these epileptic attacks, quite often short-tempered and angry. So I think knowing this was such a relief to people that, okay, it's not something which I cannot be aware of, knowing what an amygdala hijack made a change to people that, yes, I have control over it. And the remedy is very simple. We're not talking about steroids, we're not talking about tablets, we're not talking about consult a therapist. It's not all that. Very simple remedy. One is drink water. Two is breathing, right? You just breathe in and breathe out. You breathe in slowly and evenly, that is all. It's things which you can do on the spot. Nothing which requires a prop or requires a gym, nothing of that sort. You just do it on the spot. So water, you move out of the place, you breathe in and breathe out, calm yourself. And most important, what works is your neocortex, once it's back in place, you're able to rewire the entire situation. We call this as neuroplasticity. So you're able to rewire the whole situation and say, maybe there's some learning for me. Maybe I can look at this in some better way, and maybe this is making me, this is teaching me something. So we can look at it from a perspective, a third person's perspective, and then find a better solution. As a family, how do we solve it? Or as a team, how we solve it? Than blaming each other. நீ சரியா பண்ணியிருந்தா அந்த ப்ராப்ளமே வந்திருக்காது. Because we always do the blame game, be it the office or be it at home, right? And the blame game illama, how do we solve it? All this will take place because your neocortex is functional. அப்போ அதை யோசிக்க முடியும். And by the pannati, it will be a difficult ball game, and that is when things go wrong.
Beautiful.
And in many cases, it becomes violent.
People throw things around and break glasses and do a lot of damage also.
Definitely a lot. Broken marriages.
Broken marriages, of course, yes. Yeah.
It leads to a lot of serious consequences. Definitely, yeah. So it can have serious consequences. So I feel it's a must learn concept which everybody should understand and educate the entire family about this.
Awesome. Just for some of the late straddlers who joined us late and who missed the initial introduction, we are in conversation with Dhurga, who's a corporate trainer and a life coach. And she's got 27 years of experience doing this, and she trains groups of people in multinational corporations in India. She's done more than 60 companies for the training. She's done more than 10,000 people a year in training, and over the last 27 years, it's more than 250,000 people that she's trained, and a lot of people have benefited from this sort of training. This chinna concept da idu, the amygdala hijack in the concept, it's one of the hundreds of different courses that she trains on. So if you can obviously find more information online. But Dhurga, coming back to you, you don't have a medical degree or something, do you?
Not really. It's been more of research and reading about the neuroscience of leadership. So it all started with when I was doing leadership training. How I got into this was there's this neuroscience of leadership, right? We talk about leadership in terms of humility, in terms of being integral, or the question of being integrity and all those qualities: dream big, vision, inspire. But I think at the end of the day, these are all very abstract qualities when you look at a leader. Right? How do we define how honest he is, or how do we define he's trustworthy? It's not. So I felt something was missing. There's something more has to be there to be a good leader. And so I started researching into that. So I came across this neuroscience of leadership, and I think that was the tipping point, which made me research into this brain and how it works, and how decision making, problem solving, everything stems from the brain. And of course, if all that is stemming from the brain, even your emotions, right, which actually you carry right from your birth till your death, emotions are with you all the time, right? So these emotions also stem from the same brain, and if only we knew how we can direct it and make it positive, develop the growth mindset. So Harvard recently came up with this concept of the success of any organization depends on a growth mindset. So every human being should develop the growth mindset. So that emotional baggage I was talking about, right, where you have this past experiences of accidents, fights, which you keep storing these images, these memories. So every negative memory or experience which you're storing has to be replaced. So we have to practice something called emotional hygiene. You have to immediately replace that with 3 positive memories. So in case, let's say, for example, you've had a misunderstanding with your boss and you feel, oh God, he's so biased, he just does not support me at all. You find he's very biased towards you. You have to immediately think of 3 positive interactions you had with him, where you feel, yes, he has mentored you, he has coached you, he has supported you. So look for 3 other occasions where he has supported you and immediately eliminate this negative thought about him and replace it with those 3 positive thoughts. So when you keep doing this cleansing on a daily basis, you achieve what people call as emotional fluency.
Wow.
So emotional fluency is all about being able to interact with people. So I want to be a leader. I need to be able to interact with people, right? Communicate with people. Now, when I have a grudge against this person, how will I do that?
Correct.
Because the moment I see the person, I start being biased, and I cannot do that because actually the heart-brain sync takes place when you meet people. So the sync நடக்கும்போது we can sense I'm not comfortable with this person. You must have felt that. Some people you feel I'm just not comfortable. I don't know why. That because that heart-brain sync does not take place. So then emotional fluency, we have to do emotional hygiene on a daily basis. How many of us practice that? We just carry the baggage day in and day out. And that leads to emotional fractures, which is what your broken relationships are all about. So and the fractures varam iruknuna, then we have to make this micro changes to
Dhurga,
get
ஒரு 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 42 மினிட்ஸ்ல ஒரு சைக்கியாட்ரி லெசனே நடத்துது. இட்ஸ் ஃபினாமினல். ஐ மீன்
always tells us in the micro change daily பண்ணாலே ஒரு macro difference வரும் நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில.
நைஸ் நைஸ்.
So அது
emotional hygiene, emotional cleansing.
yeah. So either on a daily basis we should do before we go to bed. Just think of இன்னைக்கு என்னென்ன negative things நான் பார்த்தேன் கேட்டேன், because we see so much in the news and we read on friends would have shared some sad stories. So quickly eliminate that by replacing with 3 positive stories, 3 positive ideas, 3 positive thoughts, because the negative thought holds much more weightage. It is much more stronger. So immediately on the cleansing point அப்போ அந்த emotional baggage இருக்காது. அப்போ அந்த threat அந்த amygdala scan பண்ணும்போது அந்த threat and fear வராது. Because it is matching, right? The scanning with that present experience with your past baggage. And the scan match agadu because you're constantly cleansing. So what this can also be defined as a pain body. The more emotional baggage you have, the negative baggage you have, you're increasing the pain body. There's 2 segments to your body, pain body and love body. So the more positive you are, you become a love body. The more negative you are, you become a pain body. And the pain body you are, you start erupting all the time. You can easily identify a person. All negative emotions are there already. So a slightest word is enough to trigger them. So first they should do that internal cleansing.
This is awesome. So we are getting a lot of comments here. Superb explanation அப்படின்னு வெங்கட் லக்ஷ்மி சொல்றாங்க டெட்ராய்ட்ல இருந்து. And need of the hour, only a woman can define so aptly. Yay! Very well said. Very well said, Venkat Lakshmi. So yeah, Dhurga is articulate also because she's got 27 years of experience training and coaching people, and this is second nature to her. So she's saying there's a lot of suicide increasing among high schoolers. Is this something that can help them?
Yes, definitely, because I've done this last month with exams coming up. So in the neighborhood, I had this young student and he came across to me and he said, can you help a friend of mine? She's thinking of committing suicide and she's already been cutting her wrist. And so I had this long chat with her, and yes, you can definitely, it makes a huge difference to them. We need to talk to the youngsters nowadays, educate them, and also make them aware of emotions in general, not just about the anger part of it, the cleansing part of it, because in the generation of or like variety, they feel excluded. Right? For them, it's all about likes. It's all about how many people have looked at, commented on their pictures, and how many people have liked their post. It's all about that. So the variety, they feel rejected. So, and the rejection is what makes them do these kind of suicidal. So we have to constantly make them feel it is a natural emotion. Anger also is a natural emotion. We just need to understand how we can take care of it.
Correct.
These are emotions. We cannot be human beings without these emotions. That is what makes us human beings.
So in the emotional hygiene, emotional hygiene
is what we should maintain. Like just like personal hygiene. Yeah. We brush our teeth, we have a bath, right? We do all that, but we never think of how to clean our thoughts, how to clean our mind, and how to clean what we have seen and heard. We constantly hear about accidents and deaths. Have you ever stayed to, clean? So trust me, I've been living in a bio bubble. I've just cut off myself from the news, and that has helped me so much to go through this entire phase. It's so important to cut out the negative.
Yeah, Venkat Lakshmi is also saying, wish you can visit and take over my visits to education boards. Please share my contact. I will connect the two of you. She lives in Michigan.
Sure. Great. Definitely look into that.
So she does value-based stories in elementary and high school. That's the same kid remembers her when she goes to high school with what she's done a few years back. Anyway, Venkat Lakshmi does a similar thing in Michigan. So Dhurga, coming back to the takeaways, right? So you mentioned about the love body and the pain body. So the love body is the positive person with a lot of positivity. The pain body is someone who carries a lot of negativity, a lot of baggage, right?
Yeah. So we hold on to these emotions. சின்ன வயசுல இருந்து பார்த்ததெல்லாம் யாரோ ஒருத்தர் ஏதோ ஒரு வார்த்தை சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க, அதை hold on பண்ணிருப்போம். We're just holding on. We're not cleansing it. We're not sending it off. We're not detoxing our body. We have to remove that. So when the pain body gets accumulated with these emotional baggage, that is when these fractures take place, which we call as the emotional fractures.
Okay. So in the chinna vayasula we have to train our children, just like how we teach them to brush their teeth and take a shower. We have to teach them to cleanse their emotions.
Perfectly. Yeah, exactly. Because that is what is missing out in the youth nowadays, if you look at it. Because they are in a situation where they're constantly under peer pressure.
Yeah.
Right? And thanks to social media, they're again under constant pressure. You have to look good, you have to look great, and you need to have so many followers. So much pressure for them. And on top of it, you need to be scoring well at school. Expectations from parents. So imagine the kind of pressure the generation is going through.
Correct.
So
it is a lot of.
They need to understand emotional hygiene most importantly.
Phenomenal. So this was really good, Dhurga. This is very useful information. நேயர்களே நீங்க பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கும்போது உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது கேள்விகள் இருந்தா இப்பவே கேளுங்க. We only have another 10 minutes left, and I'd like your questions and have Dhurga answer them if you have any, or your comments. Just feel free to post. Dhurga, do you have a website or something where people can find you?
It's under construction, Venki. So I'm just working on it. That's why I told you I haven't been into this digital world. So I'm stepping into it now, yeah. So probably should be done. You can share my contact. And of course, I'm there on LinkedIn.
If anybody who's watching now or who's going to be watching the recording, if you want to reach out to Dhurga, just reach out to me through Southern Spice Tamil Radio Facebook page or YouTube, and I will I'll respond to you one-on-one and connect you with Dhurga. So I guess Dhurga, this real quick in a nutshell to just capture whatever you said today. One is the amygdala hijack, which happens when you're in a situation where it triggers some sort of anger in you, and then you react very sharply to that, and you react very angrily. That is called amygdala hijack. And the way to control that is to drink some water, take a walk, take a few deep breaths, and stay aloof for a while, stay alone for a while, and then come back. So till the anger dissipates. Correct?
Yeah, you're right, absolutely right. You sort of summed up. But one point which everybody should remember is, so let us say somebody's angry and shouting at me. Quite often we get affected, especially the spouses, right? You get very affected, or the boss is angry, the employee gets affected. So we should not take it personal. We should only sympathize with the person in front of us. Because at that point when they screamed at us or said anything which is harsh, which is unacceptable, we must remember that person's neocortex was completely hijacked. It was inactive. His thinking brain is completely hijacked. Okay, digestive system at this point may not make sense, but even that is hijacked, which means you're going through an uneasy portion of your body, is hijacked, which is your digestive system. So that also causes to the uneasiness. Plus, the brain is not functional at that point in your cortex. So, adanala, what they say, first thing, should not take it personal. Appa ipdi sollittaanga, amma ipdi sollittaanga, illa boss ipdi solli. You should not take it personal, and other way to lock yourself and then try this and try that. Adu irukkukoodadhu first.
Correct. You shouldn't internalize it. You shouldn't allow it to go into your system.
You should only sympathize with them. அவங்க சொல்றது அவங்களுக்கே தெரியாது என்ன சொல்றாங்க. So you should sympathize with them.
Right.
Why the youth I'm able to sympathize with them? Because I know what they're going through, right? That generation is going through a lot which we never went through. Because there's so much technology around them. So we're able to sympathize and be angry with them. We're able to talk to them. So that approach is what is required. So first sympathize the person in front of you who's angry. Now if you yourself, when you're angry, look out for those visible signs. Immediately take control. So drink water or breathe in, breathe out. Or if you feel it's a situation where you can take a walk, then immediately step out.
Right.
And traffic, last one thing, remember the traffic signal. So red is stop. 20 minutes kalichi, neocortex is back in action. You think about it, and green will be you respond.
Okay.
So keep that in mind.
Perfect. So Anu Sesharji is saying great advice, Dhurga.
Thanks for that. Hope this is helpful to all of you. And most important, individually, if you know it is not sufficient, you have to inform your entire team and your family. They should know it. So then it's easy to tell each other, hey, listen, I'm going through Lavington hijack, just leave me alone. It's easier that way than you knowing it and others are not aware of it.
Yeah, Nergale, spread the word about this, because you'll be helping so many people. And இது கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா ஸ்ப்ரெட் ஆச்சுனாக்க எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிய வந்ததுன்னா they'll know how to handle it, and they'll know how to keep their emotions in control and not flip the lid.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's increase our love body and reduce our pain body, and carry positivity, be positive, and rule the world. Literally, when you're calm, when you're composed, when you can handle a situation well, you're able to rise up. So I think that's what we should be doing.
Definitely. Yeah. Let the light shine.
Great. Thank you, Dhurga. Thanks so much for doing this and taking your precious time and joining Southern Spice. America AlapparaigaL, again, a lot of people who didn't know the meaning of AlapparaigaL might have learned it today. Alapparai is basically banter, and this was really not banter. This was really good conversation. This was useful information to everybody. I'm glad we did it. For me, we are constantly doing celebrity. So you're a celebrity in your own right. You've coached so many people, more than 2.5 lakh people, and now more people through Southern Spice. So keep the good work going, Dhurga. Congratulations to you, and all the best. And hope you train and coach more people.
My pleasure, and thanks, Venki, for making it happen. All the viewers of Southern Spice, very encouraging. Trust this will make a difference to all of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll. Somebody's saying America AlapparaigaL. Not. That should be the session name. Okay. Super. Okay. Thanks, Dhurga. We'll catch up on another session maybe in a few months, and we'll pick a different topic next time.
Oh, look forward to that. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Welcome and happy weekend to all.
Happy weekend to you too.
Thank you.